Hey guys, welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your daily show. I'm your host Khalid Mohideen, and this is the show where we talk about all the major talking points in South African cricket. So today we're going to be talking about a very sensitive issue. It's the mental side of the game. Not only about mental strength, but also about a little bit about mental health. And the topic comes around when Quinton de Kock. The news has come out, obviously, that Quinton de Kock has taken a mental health break after a very tough couple of months being in bio bubbles, etc., and being affected by that. Plus everything that's happened with the captaincy, the losses in Pakistan, so many different things obviously building up that has put Quinton de Kock in a space where I feel that he deserves a break. Now, to give you guys some background, Quinton probably first went into the bubble around the IPL tournaments. Now, we know, yes, with 3TC cricket, they had a bio bubbles, a little bit mini bubble over there, and they obviously went into isolation for that over there. But the main major bio bubble that he went into was the one, obviously, with the IPL. Now, they finished the IPL 2020 finished around about November 2020. Basically, since then, it's been a craze for him. He's been in and out he's been from one bio bubble to the next bio bubble, and hasn't really had an opportunity to breathe or have a break. It was straight from one hotel to the next hotel, being enclosed in such a space all the time for a personality like Quinton de Kock. Now, understand that certain players deal with certain things differently. Every player has his own way of dealing with certain situations. Certain players are guys that are used to just being in the house 24/7 and not really going out much. Maybe just having a braai at home with a couple of family members and friends and not really enjoying being outside. Some people love the nightlife. Some people like to go out and meeting with friends and going for drinks and going for supper or dinner and being out all the time to get their sense of relief or release from the normal day pressures of being a cricketer and being a professional cricketer. Then you have guys that, generally speaking, just don't like to really hang out with anybody. They just like to chill with their family, with their friends, with their animals, or maybe just go out to the water and fish all day, or go out into the bush and just get themselves free. Quinton de Kock is that type of guy. He's a man that likes to be out in the open, be out in the wild, go fishing. He enjoys those type of things. I mean, we even saw that funny video that he played one day with one of his animals. And it was hilarious. It went viral on Twitter. I mean, and it's been viral on Instagram as well. I think we posted it quite a long time ago as well. It's a very funny video. If you can find it on our Instagram channel, you can go look. So we retweeted it from his channel. So the mental side of the game is so important, especially in cricket, especially because in cricket as well, it's a very mental orientated game. It's sort of mentally focused. You play long days in the field. You have to concentrate for long hours, especially Quinton de Kock standing behind the stumps. You have to stand behind the stumps, concentrate all the time. Now you add captaincy into that, test captaincy into that 5 days on the field. Then you go straight from that high intensity concentration spell straight into a hotel, into a bio bubble. Now, Quinton is the type of guy that likes to have his own space and likes to be on his own vibe and just be his own person. He's not necessarily someone that's always very social and wants to be social all the time. Yes, he'll be social, but generally speaking, he likes to have his own space and have his own time. And that's a lot of guys that love to fish or have that type of mentality as well. They like to get away from the real world and the hype of the real world. Now, being in India as well, I mean, it's a bio bubble, but it's in India as well. It's hectic there. You know how hectic it is in India. You know how crazy the fans are. Yes, they're under lockdown, etc. But still, being in India for that experience of time and being in a hotel there as well, away from your family, not having that type of release that he needs, really took a toll on him. Now we saw it in his press conferences before the tour, we saw it, how he was. He even spoke about being in the bio bubble and how it's affected him, how difficult it is, and he hopes that it ends soon. He really wants it to end very quickly. And he looked a lot more down than some of the other players that were faced with the similar reality. I think that some guys obviously will deal with it a lot better than others. But based on your personality type. Now, before I bring on the panel to have a chat about this, please, guys, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to click that notification bell for all future videos. And also don't forget to smash that like button. We need to smash that like button so obviously we can get trending a little bit. And, just get into more people's feeds on Twitter, on YouTube, on Twitter, and everywhere when people are sharing this video. Because if you share this on YouTube as well, it will help a lot with us. And share it on Facebook, share it on Instagram, share it wherever you can to all your friends and family. Let them subscribe. We're only 300 subscribers away from 2,000 subscribers, guys. So get your friends and family that love cricket and love South African cricket particularly to subscribe to this channel immediately, please. Let them do that now. I'm going to turn on the live chat, the live super chat as well, so that you guys can get involved with the comment section, because when I have a panel on, it's very difficult for me to read all your comments. If it was a show with just me and you, it's a whole different story, of course, because then I will be able to interact with your live chat. But when I'm with a panel, it's very difficult for me to glance there all the time. So Super Chat is activated for you guys to get involved right now. So without further ado, let me introduce you to our panel. We've got Mpo and we've got Aditya. Abai is going to come on a little later. He said he'll let us know in the private chat when he comes on and when he is back. Welcome to the show, guys. How are you guys doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah. Very good, man. Always pleasure to be here.
Very good. I needed to get you guys to come chat about this. Thank you for that, dear Mpo, because I was really struggling to find an idea to speak about tonight, because tomorrow we're going to be doing a full CSA T20 challenge preview show, talking about the different teams, talking about the squads, talking about the competition, how good it will be for the youth. And we'll touch on a little bit on the semi-pro competition that will happen in March as well, where SA Under 19 will be performing in that as well. They'll be taking part in that, which is excellent for the growth of them and learning how to play the 3-day game, how to play obviously in a higher brand of cricket than they normally are used to. But guys, let's start with this particular issue. Quite sensitive, quite hectic. What are your thoughts on this? Were you happy with when you read the news that this is the reason?
I was angry. And not at Quinton. I was angry at the support staff around the players, because I just hope that it was picked up very early, that it wasn't picked up now. Because I look at England on tour in India and players are going home mid-series, and that's what you want, that type of identification early, because mental health is is a subject that's not spoken about amongst men. Men, like even today in one of the comments, which kind of got me feeling down and angry, because I kind of felt that people don't understand. It was comment, and it was said by my friend. He said that no, we need to teach mental toughness at the lower spheres and the lower rungs of cricket. But it kind of felt that Quinton was missing something. And that, but we can't be teaching our kids mental toughness. We also need to be teaching them mental health. They need to. And coaches also need to pick up on mental health very early. I could see at the back end of Sri Lanka that Quinny wasn't at his best, not from a captaincy perspective, just from a headspace, the way he did his interviews. We kind of felt that, okay, maybe something is up. I would have been okay if Quinny didn't go to Pakistan. I would have been okay for those reasons, because we've seen Glenn Maxwell, we've seen Will Pukovski speak about how tough it is playing international cricket. Now you add on the fact that you can't leave your hotel, you can't walk anywhere, you can't see your family. Yes, against Sri Lanka, they had some of their wives there, which is great for the Christmas break as well as New Year. So that was really nice. But it still takes a toll on you, as you said. Three bubbles in a row. Someone is going to have, and I kind of felt that CSA needed to have a plan to try and stagger the players. We've played the same 11 essentially for the past 4 test matches, and the only break they got was that they were going to come to South Africa, come into another bubble to prepare for Australia. We could have possibly done like England, and I know we're in a bad space from a cricketing perspective, but we could have staggered people's performances. Quinny couldn't have gone to Pakistan. He could have waited here with some of the guys who didn't go. And that's why this presented an opportunity for guys to get call-ups. You had Cal Verena there in in Pakistan. You've got other people who can support him, and so I kind of felt that maybe I hope they picked it up early, and this is the result. And I'm happy that he's taking a break, but I'm just also a little bit. I hope that it wasn't one where it was in hindsight instead of early on. Early on in the season where we could have given him a break, but we chose not to because we needed Quinny. And so that's where I'm at. I'm a little bit angry. I want to be angry at someone because you can't. It's someone's life. Yeah, it's his life, and depression is not to be taken lightly.
Yeah, you see, from my perspective as well, is that a lot of us have struggled with lockdowns, basic lockdowns. You know, you can still go out and go for exercise and do all of those type of things, and you can come back home again and you can sanitize and you have all of those things. You can go to the store, you can come back home. You have all of those type of things that you can do when you're here in a normal lockdown. Okay, some serious lockdowns obviously is only certain curfews, but you can get fresh air, you can go outside, you do have people within your household that you can communicate with and interact with. You can, if you're sick of your room, you can move to the front room. If you're sick of your front room, you can move to your wherever else you want to move to. But generally speaking, in a normal lockdown, we've even been struggling. A lot of us have been struggling with mental health as well, with the, not having interaction with other human beings, not being able to do the normal routines that you are used to. So if we are struggling the way we are, imagine being in a bubble for so, I can understand, maybe 2 weeks will be doable and acceptable. Still difficult, but at least it will be, you'll be able to handle that. But think about it, since November 2020, you're going in a bio bubble consistently over and over again. It's, imagine having to face that and to be in an enclosed environment like that. We at some point as human beings need to empathize with someone like Quinton de Kock, especially a personality like him. KG obviously didn't play the, if I remember correctly,
KG was injured. He got injured
KG was injured,
before
yes.
the second T20, so he went home. He left the bubble.
So he went home. Exactly.
Yes.
So that's the difference over there. With regards to Faf left, Faf I think left early as well. Did he not?
Yes.
Because I don't think so. CSK made the final, so I think, did Faf leave earlier? Did he all leave together? But I think it's a bit different for every single person as well. It depends on your mental state as well and how you are. Quinton obviously plays all formats for South Africa at the moment, and leaving from bubble to bubble, it's tough. I want to ask you, Aditya, because I know you're very well read, and you read on this matter often, and you've spoken to me about this off air or on other shows before about mental strength and mental health. What are your thoughts about this this particular issue, and how important it is that fans also educate themselves on this?
First off, I'm glad that it's sort of out there in the open in the South African context, because Faf has talked about it. That there is this sort of image of men being these macho sort of individuals who cannot be vulnerable, who can't have mental health issues. And so I'm glad that this conversation is out there now, and it's happening, and it needs to happen a lot more. With respect to Quinton de Kock, he'd stated in a number of his press conferences that I had attended personally, because at that time, the biobubble question was almost consistently asked, multiple times through a press conference, and he had stated multiple times that this arrangement was not sustainable. So I'm not entirely surprised that Quinton hasn't really been feeling up to it. And I think, again, we discussed this on a show previously. That with the season starting, do you really want to give Quinton the captaincy, the test captaincy? Where it's going to be a temporary arrangement. Do we really want to do that? Do we really want to place that additional pressure on him, that additional burden on him? And it's unfortunate, but I'm not entirely surprised to see this outcome happening. And if there's anything that's good out of this, is that perhaps CSA, as Graham Smith said, had been sort of proactive with respect to working with Saka and employing psychologists, handing out regular questionnaires and so on, so that they could be ahead of these issues. So again, as Mpo said, we'll be interested to see whether this was identified early and perhaps just sort of released later on, or was this identified too late? So that's a question that we'd have to ask.
Yeah, and here's an awesome comment from Lubabalo. Mental strength is a sports concept, and mental illness is an actual illness. You can be very mentally tough on the field and still be depressed or have anxiety, and that's very true.
100%.
And that will affect obviously your performances as well. Now, like I said from the beginning, when I said that we need to be a little bit easy on Quinton for going through a slump in his performances, because I feel that at the moment, every player goes through a slump. But I didn't think it was the captaincy that was weighing on him. I thought it was more the bio bubble experience that was weighing on him. I think he's a guy that doesn't thrive under those. You won't. It's not easy for him more than any other player. I think for someone like Quinton de Kock who doesn't like to be in closed spaces much. He doesn't like to be in press conferences even. When he doesn't like to, he likes to do his own thing. That's just how Quinton de Kock is, and that's why so many coaches have adapted to Quinton and what his needs are and helped him over the years. I know Coach Jeffrey Tejana was very good with him at the beginning. I know that when he was coming through the system at the Proteas, they were very good with him as well, knowing how to deal with his personality, because every personality is different. I just want to get to a super chat before I go to you, Mpo. Thank you a lot, Dex, for the super chat. You always are very, very helpful to us. He says, hi, Adita. What should be the Proteas top 5 for this year's T24? Okay, wait, before we get into that, let me just stay on to the topic for now, Dex. We'll get to your comment now. Yes, Mpo, you wanted to say something?
No, so I think my point is, I feel as though, and this is what this opportunity of having extended squads in the bubbles and stuff like that, and Graham was talking about the fact that they used 40 players. Sometimes just taking somebody and giving him a rest for a match, and I remember I spoke before the T20 that you need to communicate what games guys are going to play. But most importantly, you also need to communicate with the contracted guys to say, to have a conversation with a psychologist, and Graham may be there, and Mark, just to map a pathway through the cricketing calendar. Yes, it's changing, but it's something that you need to decide with each individual player to say, okay, no, Temba or Quinny, how are you feeling mentally? Okay, Quinny, we need you. If Australia was coming, assuming if Australia is coming, okay, Quinny, we'll need you for Australia. So maybe you can go to Pakistan, but know that you're going to be stuck there. But you can stay home and practice at the nets back at home, and then you just come in for the Australia tour. But then we'll take some other senior players to Australia and blood in some youngsters there. That staggered, that type of mentality where you sit down with every player and make sure that they have that their mental states are right, and also check in after games mid-series. So maybe someone's not having a great series or great test match, and maybe even take a sports psychologist with as well, to just make sure that you're always on the button with each of the players. Moeen Ali had a great innings, a great match against India yesterday for the past couple of days, but he's going home because they had agreed that he was going to go home. Joss Butler, similar thing, agreed to go home. Also noticed that I think Ruben, their media officer, also went home based on the number of bubbles they've been in. It makes sense. And if you have that staggered plan and the players understand it, then it can work. And I do hope that CSA going forward do have that plan. You don't need to take your A team to Ireland. I'm going to put it out there now. I know we haven't played a lot of cricket. I understand that completely, but you don't have to take the A team to Ireland. Please, if anyone's watching this from CSA, please try stagger it out. I understand some players are going to play IPL, so that needs to be factored in because it's a money-making opportunity. So to the Pakistan Super League, and that needs to be factored into their ways to get guys to the World Cup. The goal is the World Cup, right, with your best 15. So let's get guys there. and managing bubbles in between. So if someone's playing in the IPL, it's either they stay in the IPL and they play until it finishes, and they don't play any other international cricket until the World Cup warm-ups, possibly in India or that India series before the World Cup. Or if someone is not going to the IPL, then maybe take them to Ireland, but then maybe call them out 2 weeks before the final couple of games in the CSA 4-day competition to say, have a rest, forget about the bubble. Here's 4 weeks before you go on tour. Just chill, have a good time. Things like that. So everybody kind of understands where they are. And this is also an opportunity for us as the fans to see a much wider pool of players. It was disappointing to see a similar crop of players playing the same type of matches over the 4 test matches. You'd want to see a little bit more. And I understand England has the depth, but we also do have, we're actually in the point where Graham even mentioned that you need guys to put up performances. What better way is to give people opportunities in games based on this, because that's what the new, and I hate the whole new normal, but that's what it is. We need to be very careful about everyone's mental health and give people and make sure that we get people too, because if the goal is the T20 World Cup, we need to get the strongest possible team. You can't have Quinton jumping from bubble to bubble to bubble this year, or anybody else for that matter. So those are the things that it adds a cost and it adds an extra layer of meetings and whatever it is. But this is the most important thing, more than ever. If you have a mentally healthy team, you give yourselves every chance of winning games.
So we've got 2 callers waiting for us. We've got a Bai waiting for us, and we've got Lubabalo waiting for us in the background over there. Luba is not going to put on his camera today, so we're just going to hear his beautiful voice on the channel today. Let's start with Abai today. Abai, throw away. What do you have to say about mental health, etc.?
Yeah, so I think the bio-bubble environment, it's not easy. Like, there are a lot of restrictions, and ultimately everyone's going to want some time off to unwind, and it's been quite strenuous for Quinton de Kock. In fact, he's got a long list of tasks. He's now captain the team in all formats, and he's played the IPL, gone from one bubble to the next without much time to relax in between. So I think it's a well-deserved break, and I think as far as mental health is concerned, we all need to take time to educate ourselves before whenever we hear about things like this.
Lou, you are a coach. You deal with a lot of youngsters and all sorts of types of players, all age groups, also women's cricketers as well. They will go through a lot of mental health issues, especially with the pressures that they have to play under. What sort of comments can you give us on this, or insights can you give us into this? And were you not happy, but were you more relieved to see that Quinton was given a break, and that someone saw that he needed a break?
It's a tough one for a coach, to be honest. What I can do as a coach, because I'm not a qualified, they know that I'm there for them, and to make sure that they feel comfortable and that they can talk to me. And then, depending on how serious the situation is, I can maybe try and help them find someone professional to actually talk to. With regards to Quinton, I'm glad they picked it up early, and I hope it's not something that's been going on, as Mpo has said. And I speak as someone who had mental illness. Mine got so bad that I even had to leave on antidepressants. So I know where he is and I know how it feels. But hopefully they got it on time. He can go and just unwind and forget about the cricket and forget about being in a bio bubble. Because the worst thing about Memphis is that when it hits so hard that Quinton might not even enjoy fishing anymore. It hits you so hard that even the things that
you love. You're just breaking up there, Luva.
We can't hear you.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna let you just join
up?
again. Yeah, you're breaking up.
Yeah.
Okay, you can just rejoin again, but I am getting understanding what you are saying is, were you speaking about how mental toughness, mental health, and struggling with mental illness is so bad that it can affect things that you enjoy, like everything that you do. Like I mean, we've all gone through mental health. I don't know if all of us have gone through mental health issues, but I mean, we've all struggled in our lives with certain mental struggles, etc. And I know for a fact we're now into a period as well, similarly to what Lubabalo was talking about, is that you lose love for the things that you normally love, the normal things that you could use to escape. That doesn't help. Everywhere you turn to, it just brings you back to that memories. It brings you back to that feeling of feeling down and feeling alone. Sometimes even when you have people around you, like for example with Quinton, he has a whole team around him. It doesn't necessarily mean that because you have people around you that you're going to feel not alone. You can feel like there's a particular song that I can talk about that is one of my favorite artists of this generation is Machine Gun Kelly. And I know I speak about him and people might think, oh, what you're talking about is Machine Gun Kelly. He doesn't come across as a person like that. But he also went through a very depressive phase and mental health issues. And there's a song on his album called Lonely, on his latest album. And he speaks about it. Even when the room is full, he still feels lonely. That's a powerful, powerful message that he's trying to say, is that sometimes you just need to be able to take that break and step away from everything to just find yourself again. And I hope that they're dealing with his mental illness in the right way. And I hope that that he has the right people around him from a professional point of view to get him through this, because we need Quinton backfiring, and maybe a good idea would be to take the captaincy away from him now, give him less responsibilities. You can focus on the thing that he loves the most, which is obviously batting as well.
Look, not necessarily. He may want to be captain and he may love being captain. It's just that the situation of where the world is and how we are doing international tours now is making it very hard for him to give his best on the field. It doesn't mean that he's not good enough to be captain.
No, I'm not saying that.
World, yeah, but in a normal world, I wouldn't look. I guess maybe we can agree, but obviously with this now adding with this now aspect being added on, maybe it wasn't something that drove him to it. And let's not say that the captaincy drove him to it, or he's not fit to be captain. It's just maybe something that needs to be managed, and if managed well, can give us the best Quinny, even as a captain and a wicketkeeper. It just, for me, the question was, could have, and this is hindsight to 2020, and so maybe let's take the learnings from what I'm going to say here. Maybe create a leadership group where it doesn't matter who's going to be the one man who's going to be captain, but at one time there's 3 guys who are going to carry it, and they discuss it. But in one game, there's always going to be the one guy who makes the final decisions. So, instance, when they announced the captaincy before the Sri Lanka tour, they could have said, no, we're thinking of having a leadership group. Some days it'll be Dean, some days it'll be Quinton, some matches it'll be Quinton, other matches it might just be Faf, depending on how we're staggering, because we don't want to put too much pressure on the players. Maybe that's the way to go forward now in this world, if this COVID thing doesn't end and we're still playing in bubbles. Just to make sure that we manage this thing well and we get the best out of our players, rather than not picking it up and just assuming guys can be strong. Because even in the initial press conference when they said Quinton was going to be captain, they said they spoke to him about it. And yes, maybe he may have still wanted it. And at the time, maybe he was like, yo, this is a challenge. I want to take it. It's for my country. But as the bubbles carry on, it weighs heavily on him. And it doesn't mean he's a bad captain. It just means that he's human, like everyone else. I'm telling you, like this second lockdown that happened in December, it was wild. It's been increasingly tough. And I was fine last year. Now I'm like, wait, where's my mental space at? And even so, for instance, Steve Smith speaks about the mental health issue, the mental health problems he encountered when after Sandpapergate, and he has a I wouldn't call it a coach, but a doctor. And every morning, the doctor will send him an SMS to ask him on a scale of 1 to 10, how his mental space is at, and he will reply with a number. And then after that, they can deal with whatever, if it's a low number, whatever it is, if it's something, they can deal with it together. But those are the things that you need to put into place in order for guys, and people don't know about these things. And so I think it's just for us to be more, for CSA to be more accommodating. And I've always been a fan of taking a psychologist in a sports team, especially an international sports team, traveling with them around the world, because as a coach, I need to know the mental health of my team at any moment in time, because that tells me how we will be doing in that game.
Yeah. So my comment wasn't saying that he's not good enough to be captain. I'm not saying that he's not good enough to be captain, and I'm not saying they must take it away from him because he can't handle necessarily being captain or all of those things. And I'm not saying that the captaincy is the reason that that he's gotten this situation that he's in right now, and that it is a cause of his mental illness. What I'm trying to say is that we also need to be sensitive of his situation. If it is a serious mental illness situation that he's going through and he's really struggling, we can't expect to just throw the whole world on his shoulders and expect him to just carry it. We need to ease him into certain situations, support him, have guys around him in the team, like a leadership group, you're right, that can support him and help him through this as a team as well. I'm trying to bring Lou back on. How's it, Lou? You were talking about it. You were specifically talking about how even when you do things that you enjoy, sometimes you don't enjoy it, even though you're going through, because what you're going through.
Yeah, I was. Can you guys hear me properly though?
Yeah, of course.
I can hear you now. Yes.
I was saying the worst part about having mental illness, especially something like depression, is that you end up not enjoying things that you normally enjoy doing, things that normally cheer you up. You find yourself in a space where you feel like you're in a dark hole that you're struggling to get out of. And the more you keep on shying away from things that cheer you up, the worse your situation becomes. Hence, I was saying, I hope they discovered this early, and it's good for Quinton to go away from cricket and just unwind and just be himself and have fun.
Aditya, in your space and with following the India team as well, has there been similar cases like this that we can maybe take from or learn things from that you've seen amongst the team from as a fan?
See, recently Ravi Shastri made a statement saying that he was going to talk to Saurav Ganguly to request that the Indian players are given a break post the IPL, because the Indians have been in bubbles non-stop since the IPL, and they've been on away tours, they've had extensive injuries and so on, and it's just time to ensure that they don't feel drained by the end of it. But we haven't had so far. We haven't had instances of players wanting to opt out for mental health issues. But again, it's not particularly easy to talk about it in the Indian environment. Virat Kohli was perhaps the most recent Indian cricketer to have talked about it, where he described his struggles post the 2014 tour of England, where he averaged 13. But beyond that, we haven't heard of too many Indian cricketers really come out and talk about it openly.
Yeah. Abad, do you want to weigh on this a little bit more?
Yeah, so I think I think Paul mentioned it much earlier, but if we look at let's say Glenn Maxwell and Will Pucovski, I want to take Will Pucovski as an example because he's had the ongoing mental health problem, and even when he got picked, I think in his very first series, I believe it was against Sri Lanka, even though he didn't get game time, he asked for an early release. So it's actually good. It's actually good to see more and more players opening up about their mental health struggles, because that's the way they're going to be heard. And I also want to say there shouldn't be any mental health stigma anymore, and I think society is beginning to improve, or continuing to improve, I should say.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, guys. I think that's enough on this particular topic. I think we covered a lot of it, and I hope you guys enjoyed that part of it. Let's go into something a little bit more lighthearted and something a little bit more fun. Let's answer Dex's super chat because we have a island tour coming in July, and a lot of us have been speaking about who we must take, who we mustn't take, etc., etc. Should we be taking our full strength teams? Should we not? Paul touched on it a little bit, but Dexter's comment is more about the World Cup in T20 World Cup. So let's try and all pick our top 5. Let's start with Aditya because the question was relayed to you and was asked to you. So let's start with what your Proteas top 5 would be for the T20 World Cup.
Hi, Dex. Thank you for your question. My top 5 is a little bit unusual. So my top 5 would be Quinton de Kock and Faf du Plessis opening, AB de Villiers at 1 drop, Rassie van der Dussen at number 4, and David Miller at 5. That's my top 5.
That's a proper controversial picks there. Let's go to Paul next.
My top 5. Okay, I'd love for Faf to open, but let's do it like this. Quinny at the top, Temba opening partner, Faf at 3, AB at 4, and between David Miller and Rassie at 5. But I'd probably go with David Miller at 5.
Okay, sick. Lubo.
Okay, my openers, Queenie and Temba. Number 3, Faf. Number 4, David Miller. Number 5, I'm still undecided. I'd like to say a youngster will come through at 5 for us. But for now, I'll say Henrik Klassen at 5. And that's my top 5.
Interesting. Very interesting. Bye. Oh wait, sorry, I muted you. My mistake. Sorry, you.
All right, so
Go ahead.
you know, as the saying goes, we save the best for the last, right? Anyway, so I can give 2.
That's why I'm going next.
So I can give 2. Okay. So I'll give 2 different top 5. So let's say if he is not in the squad, then de Kock, Bavuma, Faf, Rassie, Miller. So and if AB is in, then de Kock, Bavuma, Faf, AB, Miller.
Okay, cool. Okay, so my top 5 is but I'm laughing before I said it out. Parsons. No, I'm joking.
Okay.
Look at.
Let's take Bryce. I wouldn't mind.
Okay, so I'll start with yes, I think Quinny and Temba. 3 Faf. It depends about if AB's back for AB. Otherwise, it's Rassie for me at 4. 5 will be for me. Because it's India, it'll probably have to be David Miller at 5. That would be because if it wasn't India, I would probably put Miller at 6. I wouldn't take a second spinner. I'll play Miller at 6. So I'll go with Miller at 5. That's my top 5. So I want to hear what you guys have to say also in the comment sections. Still some people talking about mental health. We've got Saif saying here, Quinny, Temba, Faf, ABD, Klassen, 6 Miller, 7 Linda. Okay, he went right down to the number 7 positions. We've got Clickbait saying over here that Quinton must find the things that trigger him and try to do the things that prevent that. It's very difficult to just do that on your own. You need some support to do that as well. I'm sorry, I thought that wasn't done. Yeah, you need a support group, and I hope that the players also get involved with him as well. Werner Erasmus says, I think each player needs to get a VR headset that has games, environments, movies, and headphones so that they can tune out for a while. Example, Quinny can place himself in a boat with bird sounds and etc. I did those. Why I'm laughing is because I did that VAR things and I walked straight into a bloody wall.
You're not supposed. Oh, man.
I put it on and I was walking around because I was like in the house. I tried it the first time. I got rid of that thing so quickly. I was like, I'm never going to use this thing again. So, yeah, I wasn't in the best place. It was one of those harder ones when you walk through every single time you walk through, then something jumps out, or like you have to open doors and stuff. It was hilarious. That's why I started laughing because you spoke about the VR. Ever think of the VR headset and I think about that. Guys, you want to do a final roundup? We're going to be talking, Lubo, I need you on tomorrow's show. If you can come by Aditya as well, because I know Mpo's going to join, so I don't even have to ask him because it's a massive conversation we're going to be having. But I'm going to try to get as many people on the panel tomorrow because we're going to be talking about the CS8020 challenge. Now, we already know that globally it's going to be broadcasted in India and Australia and so many other places. So I hope I know Willow TV is also having it. I'm not sure about if you have Willow TV available to you. Yes, you do. There we go. There's the fist pump. So we can watch it. We can all cover it. We can all do multiple things for this particular on these shows, and the Proteas are going to be playing. So tomorrow's whole show is going to be about which teams that we're going to be selecting. How do you think the teams are going to line up? Please bear in mind that there's going to be transformation targets, of course. So you're going to have to obviously put that into your equation when you're picking your teams. The transformation.
For my team, that's not a problem.
I know for your team that's not a problem, but I'm just saying for everybody out there, just bear in mind that you have to pick the 3 Black African players and 6 players of color in general, with 3 have to be Black African. So when you're picking your teams tomorrow, don't come on here and say, oh no, this person mustn't play that. Just follow the rules and it'll all be okay. So thanks a lot for everybody for tuning in. Thanks a lot, Mpo, Aditya, Lou, and Abai for coming on the show and talking about this important issue. I hope you guys all enjoyed it and you got some little bit more insights into this. Don't forget to smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell as well. Don't, of course, forget to download the latest issue of the magazine. The link will be on the screen right now. I'll put it on the screen for you, and it's in the description. If you want to get all updates on SA Cricket, then go to cricketfanaticsmag.com. We have so many updates on there for you, and we got exclusive interviews as well as so many other articles, opinion pieces, etc. on South African cricket. Please help us by joining our Patreon. Join this community. You join the Patreon so that you can get exclusive content, etc. The more numbers we get in there, the more exclusive content I actually can do for you. Because I haven't had a chance to actually kickstart it because we need more of you guys to join up first. So go ahead, join up, to join our Discord, etc., etc. Thanks a lot, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow with our preview of the CSA T20 Challenge. Take care, everyone.